Well, guys, do you remember when we talked about how the Cleveland media wanted everybody but Shador Sanders and some of these beat writers and some of the insiders talked about bringing in all these quarterbacks to replace Shador Sanders. And now the tables have turned. You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Well, today, man, we got to talk about it, man. Now the tables have turned, and now they're looking in a different direction because, like I told you guys, Andrew Berry is standing 10 toes down. But we're going to talk about it right after this.
Let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. It's my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your top picks. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio, stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic, man, I got something to say.
Well, guys, you know I got something to say because I've been talking about this ever since they kept on bringing up Shador Sanders in the offseason. Anytime it had something to do surrounding quarterbacks in free agents, or if the Cleveland Browns would go draft a quarterback at number 6. But like I told you guys before, Shador Sanders threw a monkey wrench in that system because of the last 2 games of the regular season when he knocked off Pittsburgh and knocked off Cincinnati and pushed their record up. What happened was their draft stock and their positioning dropped. So now that the Cleveland Browns have the 6th pick, what are they going to do at the number 6 pick? Now, the Cleveland media and all these insiders been covering the fact that they need to go get a veteran quarterback, bring him in to start over Shador Sanders as quarterback 1. Now, I've been telling you guys, Todd Monken has been saying a lot of good things about Shador Sanders, and a lot of people are not looking at that for face value. Todd Monken is basically saying he likes what he sees in Shador Sanders, and he's excited to get to work with him because we've seen all the interactions with Todd Monken and Shador Sanders. We saw when Todd Monken was announced as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. You know, Shador Sanders walked into his office and, you heard what Todd Monken said. He said, man, hey, we tried to draft your ass last year when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. And he said, this is how it comes full circle. Now he gets a chance to get his hands on Shador Sanders and see him up close in person. And he likes what he sees. He likes the intangibles. He likes the it factor. He likes what he brings to the table. And he likes his eliteness because he's alluded to all that. We saw it in college and we saw it in the last 7 games that Shador Sanders played last year in 2025. Now, Shador Sanders ended off the season as quarterback 1. So now what the Cleveland insiders do, they want anybody but Shador Sanders. But now the tables have turned because our good friend, insider, Mary Kay Cabot, she's been reaching for stories. And ever since Kevin Stefanski was let go as the Cleveland Browns head coach, she don't have no leaks. She don't have no inside intel. So now she's reaching for stories. And we produced a show the other day about Mary Kay having limited access. And I still believe she has limited access because now the tables have turned because Mary Kay said some things about, bringing in Kyler Murray to go get Kyler Murray, knock his door down, kick the tires down, and bring in Kyler Murray to start over Shador Sanders. Now the tables have turned, and this is what is happening. Trouble is brewing for their number 2 pick last year in the 3rd round of Dillon Gabriel. Trouble is brewing for Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel might be the odd man out in this whole quarterback situation in Cleveland. They were so high on Dillon Gabriel, they took him over Shador Sanders in the 3rd round and let Shador Sanders slip all the way to the 5th round. 144th pick, right? And they saw what they got from Dillon Gabriel when Dillon Gabriel was a starter. And Dillon Gabriel has been an afterthought. So trouble is brewing. So Mary Kay now has turned tables and is insinuating that Dillon Gabriel might be on the trade blocks. If they do go get a quarterback, you look at the value they got in Dillon Gabriel and move him out, because that's in the midst of what we've seen Shador Sanders is capable of doing. Now I think Mary Kay is starting to get it and starting to see that Shador Sanders is Cleveland Browns' future quarterback. And he's QB1 going into 2026. But I want you guys to listen to what Mary Kay said. And once we finish listening to what Mary Kay said, we'll come back and we'll finish the show. Take a listen to what Mary Kay had to say.
Mary Kay, Andrew Berry mentioned at the Combine that they probably will be less active in terms of their pre-draft work they'll do on this quarterback class, just based off the class itself, but also where they're drafting this year. And I know you've written and talked about this already. We know they've expressed at least some interest in Ty Simpson, and everyone's been talking about that lately. And obviously they had him in for a top 30 visit this week. But how motivated do you think the Browns will be to add a quarterback through that method, through the draft this offseason?
Well, I think they will look at them all very closely, and they will continue to do their diligence. But I think that if they draft a quarterback this year, it will be more of a developmental guy and not somebody that is designed to come in here and take the place of Shador Sanders. I think they're really excited about Shador. They've told us that they're excited about Shador. So I just don't think that the priority right now is for them to go find someone who will overtake him this camp. I do think that they are intrigued and they like Ty Simpson, but you have to do that kind of due diligence on him because they have 6, 24, and 39. And when a guy's market starts to set itself in the draft, you have to be ready to go. So even though I don't think that they will take him at number 6, they are looking at him there just to decide if they think that he would be worthy of that pick. But once if he starts to fall a little bit, then you want to be ready to pull the trigger if it makes sense.
Yeah, so based off of that, and the understanding that it seems like they maybe do want to just sort of see Shedeur through and what he brings to the table and maybe not bringing in somebody that would overtake him, like you mentioned, do you think it's more likely, Mary Kay, that they would sign a veteran quarterback or that they would maybe draft somebody, like you said, who's a developmental piece that Tomlin can kind of get his hands on and play the quarterback position that way? Because we know they're going to add at least one more to that group.
Yeah, it's hard to say. If they do add a veteran, I think it would be a younger guy that will have some upside potential and could do something for them down the road. And if they do something like that, and I wrote this in one of my stories recently, that, if they bring in another guy, then I think they would be open to trading Dillon Gabriel. So, I think that's something to watch for over the next week. If they can get something for Dillon, maybe they've seen enough of him.
This is crazy.
And, maybe Todd Monken has seen enough of him and, what his scheme would be for a guy like that to maybe, that they would consider moving him. In that scenario, then you maybe go out and find another developmental guy. Maybe you draft, a Drew Eller or a Cade Klubnik or whatever, somebody from a later round in this
Earl
draft.
just eating this up. Now, you heard what Mary Kay Cabot had to say, man. And this is the crazy thing. I told you guys, ever since Todd Monken has been announced the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland media and insiders are in a trick bag. They don't know what to report. This is all insinuating different things. And guys, remember when I told you guys what happened to all these quarterbacks that you see above me? What happened to all these quarterbacks? Now you don't want to talk about all these quarterbacks, bringing in all these quarterbacks. What happened? The tables have turned tremendously in this quarterback situation because now Mary Kay went on to say that they love what they see in Shador Sanders and they're not trying to bring nobody in to upstart Shador Sanders as QB1. I've been telling you guys, man, you got to listen to what Todd Monken has said. See, Todd Monken, when he was announced the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, he shut down all accusations, man. He got right to the point because in that first introductory press conference, Mary Kay came out there head first. Todd Monken shut it down. Even Shador Sanders piggybacked off of what Todd Monken said at the Pro Bowl when he had the interview with the girl Amber. So now Mary Kay is out there reaching for stories because you heard what she said. She wrote this a little earlier about Dillon Gabriel being moved and them not bringing somebody in to take Shador Sanders' quarterback one position. But if you wrote this earlier, why was you doing bad reporting about going get Kyler Murray, bringing Kyler Murray in to start over Shador Sanders? I heard you talk about Deshaun Watson got a 60% chance of starting over Shador Sanders. Like, this is crazy. See, what they doing now is they don't have no leaks. They don't have no inside intel, because if you really listen and pay close attention, Kevin Stefanski was the mole. He must have been leaking all that information to Mary Kay. And Mary Kay was just running with it. Now the Cleveland insiders, they have nothing to talk about. It's dried up because Andrew Berry is standing 10 toes down in this situation. And I've told you guys, going into 2026, Shador Sanders ended off 2025 as QB1. Going into 2026, going into OTAs, Shador Sanders will have that label on him as QB1. And just like Denzel Ward said, it's Shador Sanders' job to lose. And then Mary Kay went on to say, bringing in a developmental guy if they draft somebody at 6 or 24. So this notion, just because they interviewed Ty Simpson, doesn't mean they're going to take Ty Simpson at number 6. You got other issues that you have to address. They made a great out of the equation. They made a nice offseason acquisition in getting Titus Howard from the Houston Texans to upgrade their offensive line. Now you use them picks in the draft to get you offensive lineman or a wide receiver. But I've told people, I might sound crazy, but don't sleep on Jerry Jeudy this year, man. I think Jerry Jeudy will have a revenge season and he will play ball. But with Titus Howard coming in, a great offensive lineman, they upgraded their offensive line. Now they just need to keep building on that. And free agency starts tomorrow, and there's some big splashes that the Cleveland Browns could make on the offensive line and wide receiver. You know, things are starting to get crazy in the NFL. You see what Max Crosby went to the Baltimore Ravens inside of that division. That's another thing that the Cleveland Browns got to watch out. Another edge rusher for Baltimore. And then you look at DJ Moore, traded out of Chicago, went out to Buffalo. So there's some wide receivers that names are in trade rumors that Cleveland could potentially go get. But this notion of trying to bring another quarterback in to upstart Shador Sanders, let's kill that nonsense, man. The tables have turned and trouble is brewing for Dillon Gabriel. He's an afterthought. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.